Welcome to RedShark TV. I'm Dave Shapton. Coming up in the show, we're going to show you how to build a virtual studio, going from something that looks like this to this. We'll be taking a closer look at why companies are using video as part of their marketing and communication strategy. We'll have a roundup of the latest industry news from NAB 2015 in Las Vegas. And we'll see how you can get studio quality Skype conversations from NewTek's talk show broadcast Skype interface. First, we're going to talk to Patrick Taylor, who's RedShark's North American editor. Patrick, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
I wanted to ask you a few questions about how you think that video is better than more conventional forms of communication within an organization. I mean, I'm talking here about engagement. What is it about video that makes people watch it and understand the message?
These days, everybody's using video. Companies are using video left and right. And if you're not using video, you're more than likely behind the curve. When it comes to the experience of video over other forms of communication, there's a level of emotional engagement that you're not going to get elsewhere. It's a very sticky experience, and it's also an opportunity to align your brand and messaging with that of your audience and with the emotions and the concerns of your audience, whether it's a consumer-facing audience or if it's an audience of just your employees. You can also draw upon film language, film forms and tropes to actually build as the building blocks for your creation. So you don't ever have to feel like you're starting from scratch. And also it's cost-effective, it's shareable, trackable, reusable. I mean, through outlets like, of course, YouTube and Vimeo and Dailymotion, you have free video distribution to your audience, and that distribution is rapid and it promotes sharing through social media outlets.
Yeah, I suppose in a sense what you're saying is that you're able to use a shared language, the language of film and television that we all are fluent in, and use that to reinforce your communication.
Yeah. It's something that we all draw upon because we all have very intimate experience with video, even going way back before we even knew what the word video was. When we're just children, just watching this just glorious screen with all these colors and these sounds coming out. And we all have this sort of almost a primal relationship with video because we've all grown up with it. I mean, anybody that's watching this has fond childhood memories of watching television or watching video or gathering around the television with your family and sharing in these stories that are being communicated. So that's a very, very powerful thing that companies can tap into that's already present within its audience.
And I suppose video itself is a reflection of real life, isn't it? Because, I mean, stuff moves. And it's almost like having the person with you, in front of you. So, I mean, this is also much is stating the obvious, but it's worth stating because we're trying to find what it is about video that makes it more engaging than other forms of communication.
Well, I think that you can make the argument that it may be even better than being in person and telling in person. Because with a video, you can really shape and heighten the form, and you can shape and heighten the content more so than you can necessarily do in person, where it's a one-to-one situation. But whereas with video, as I said, it's scalable, shareable, it's very easy to distribute, so you can really just kind of amplify your message.
Okay, so the other thing I wanted to mention was the immediacy of video, because we're talking here about video as communication. Now let's imagine that you're a financial company, or you're the kind of company with a huge slew of products, many of which might be changing all the time. So you have to keep your employees up to date. So the immediacy of video means that you can actually disseminate this information from the top to even the lowest ranks in a really effective way.
Well, yes and no. It really depends on the pace of production. If you're farming everything out and it's taking, and your turnaround on your projects is like 2 or 3 months per video that you're producing, then that isn't really possible. But if you have in-house studio capabilities, then you can do things like that. You can be tremendously reactive, and you can just say, oh, okay, well, we need to communicate X or Y to our employees and to the company at large. Then you can do that if you have the facilities. But if it's a situation where you're just hiring like independent producers, other companies, stringers, and you may even have ones that you like, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the turnaround that you need in order to do what you're discussing.
So if your priority is immediate communication, then really what you should be doing is having a live setup rather like the one we've got here today.
Exactly. I mean, it goes back to what I was saying before. I mean, you really can trade off of previously established forms, and the news program is a really good form to get that message across. I mean, today with studio capabilities being what they are for companies, I mean, you can set up a studio that replicates what is possible on your daily morning news program that is probably on your stations right now. So I think that now, because there's so much technical capability, and that capability can be had at a relatively modest sum, then the argument makes itself for setting up a studio for your company if you have the need for a lot of video. And I would argue that almost any company has a need for more and more video. However much video you're producing, you probably need more of it.
Okay, well, that's a good note to finish on. Patrick, thanks so much. Speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, speak to you.
Now, let's look at a company that uses video in a big way. Marel, who are based in Iceland, have employees all over the world, and we have their video specialist, Oscar Svensson, on the line. Oscar, tell us a bit about your company.
Yeah, Marel is a multinational company with over 4,000 employees worldwide. We have offices in over 30 countries in 6 continents.
It's a business that sounds like it's spread out, in many countries. Is that why you find video communication so important? I mean, why is it that you use video in your company?
That's exactly why. The challenge we were, facing was that how do we move knowledge? How do we move knowledge from our production centers out to the sales and service networks, which is, like I said, in over 30 countries and 6 continents. Like most companies, we noticed that sending an email is just not enough anymore. We need stronger, communication. And of course, video is the strongest medium, And that's the reason we started these shows, which we call Marel Live, where we broadcast once a month, at least, for each industry. There we have our product specialist, basically telling and communicating with the sales and service network about all our new products, how they work, what's the best way of selling them, what you tell the customer, etc. So there was basically, the main reason was how can we move knowledge in a sort of effective way all over the world to all our sales and service network.
So some people might find this surprising when we're talking about corporate video, that your main reason for using video is to talk to your own staff, not to talk to the customers,
yes.
But to talk to your own staff.
We started out as, just internal broadcasts, but now we are actually expanding, and this is going out to our customers as well. But initially, yes, it was to, educate our own people, because, like I say, when you have people scattered all over the world, to get them together in one place physically is almost impossible, and of course, really, really expensive. So what's the best way? Of course, to have video, and like in our case, interactive video. So they are part of the broadcast. They can ask questions, and we have our product specialist here, in our studio when we broadcast, and they can answer the questions live. So it's it's a fantastic way to communicate with our people, which are all over the place, you know.
Now, I'm just thinking that your company is very specialized, and in fact so specialized that, you know, most people, most end users of your, or consumers of your products, probably are not aware of you. But I'm just wondering what other kinds of companies might find themselves in this kind of position. And I guess it's anyone where they have a wide geographic spread, a lot of staff, and maybe a multitude of products that are changing all the time. In other words, they have things that they need to communicate regularly and effectively to their staff across the world.
Absolutely. I think, you know, if you have a lot of people, you know, scattered all over the world, I mean, to get them together in a one place, you know, like in a live video conference or a webinar, you know, it's a really valuable tool, and once you have it interactive as well, it makes them, you know, it makes them feel like they are part of that meeting, and they are there, you know. That's the feedback we are getting. So yes, I think so, definitely all sort of multinational companies, you know, should definitely look into this.
Okay, now obviously you've achieved this, you've set it up for your company. What advice would you give to anyone who's thinking of starting from scratch?
Well, I think most companies that are sort of, you know, that have a few thousand employees or even a few hundred that are, you know, based all over the world, they will most likely have some kind of need for a video. So maybe they have a video, you know, person already in the company, or maybe not. Maybe they want to hire someone. At least, you know, a lot of the companies I know of have a video person, you know, maybe one or maybe two or maybe more, you know, there. And so all they need basically, if you have that, is to get something to broadcast with, like we have the TriCaster here, which is a fantastic piece of equipment. And the good thing about the TriCaster is that if you know how to operate a camera, you can operate the TriCaster. It's so easy and user-friendly. So my advice, of course, would, you know, get a TriCaster, because it makes our life, you know, really, really easy when it comes to broadcasts.
Okay, fantastic. That's absolutely brilliant. Thanks so much for giving us your view on how to use video within a company. Well, earlier in the program we said we'd show you how to build a complete virtual studio like the one we have here, and we actually filmed ourselves as we were building it. So let's have a look at that now. Hi everyone, I'm Dave Shapton and I'm the editor of RedShark, and we're running this little video blog to show you how we put together a fully fledged virtual TV studio in the corner of this rather generic looking office. So this video, as you see it, is going to look rather shabby because we've got no special lighting, we've got no audio specifically, and we've got a pile of boxes. So we're going to show you how we turn this into a lovely looking studio set. I've got Ian here with me, who's our producer and is also in charge of putting the whole studio together. So Ian, what's this piece of kit that you're about to show us?
Okay, Dave, hello. This is the NewTek TriCaster Mini, which is going to be the heart of our vision mixing centre for the studio. So all the signals are going to go into here. We'll add effects, we'll key in the virtual studio using this unit, and we'll mix it live. We're going to have Skype feeds coming in from NewTek's VS100 talk show unit, yeah, we love the TriCaster. Awesome box.
And I can see it's only got HDMI inputs on it. So what can we plug into this?
Yeah, I mean the I/O is HDMI, but the cameras we're using have SDI outputs, so we'll be using converters from Blackmagic. We've got Blackmagic Studio cameras converted HD-SDI to HDMI into there, and then we'll mix the audio side of things through a desk with our radio mics, pop that all in there, and the Skype feeds for your interviews are going to come in via network from the New Tech Talk Show box.
So this is the box that is the hardware Skype client. How does that work?
Yeah, that's right. It's developed with Microsoft based on the Skype TX technology, and it means we can get great quality signals from our Skype interviewees. We can feed back our studio to them on screen. You'll be doing all of that mixed into your earpiece, and yeah, we love that, and it's very easy to use and fantastic results.
Okay, brilliant. So this is really the hub of the studio. It's an amazing amount of capability in a little box, but of course we need more than that. We need cameras, we need audio, proper audio, microphones, a green screen,
Yeah.
and all of this has to be plugged together and made to work. But I just want to say we're not studio building experts. We know a bit about video, but we want to show you how people like us can put together an incredible looking studio, and as I said before, you can turn any generic looking space into a lovely looking set. So that's what we'll be doing over the next few episodes, and we'll have the proper programs as well when we finish the studio. But until we've done that, we'll show you how we put it all together. Welcome to RedShark TV. I'm Dave Shapton. Coming up in the show, now earlier we caught up with Kane Peterson, who works for NewTek, and he's going to show us how to build and plan for a virtual studio. I'm very pleased to say that we have Kane Peterson from NewTek here, and we're going to look at some of the higher level aspects of putting a studio together. In other words, how do you plan for it? How do you make it work? What skills do you need to make it work? And how do you distribute the video at the end? How do you get it to your viewers? So, Kane, thanks very much for joining us.
Oh, great to be here. Let's
have a look at the whole project of putting a virtual studio together.
Okay.
And I should say this could be a virtual studio or just a set in a nice looking room.
Yes.
But where do you start? I mean, there are obvious things like cameras, lights, and so on. But I mean, how would you start planning to put a studio together?
Well, if we're looking from an equipment standpoint, then I guess one of the first questions is it planning on doing virtual, or are you planning on doing a physical set in there? I know virtual, and that's certainly becoming more popular these days, but there's still physical is still popular, and in fact, in many cases, even a hybrid set where you've got physical aspects like chairs or tables, along with virtual aspects coming into play as well.
Can we just explain what we mean by virtual as opposed to a physical studio?
A physical studio, of course, would be one where everything in it really exists. You know, the tables, the chairs, the backgrounds, plants, windows, all that kind of stuff. So you're really capturing the environment that you're sitting inside of. A virtual environment would be where you've got a green screen or a blue screen in the background, and that's being replaced with whatever you want it to be replaced with. Now, in some cases, it might just be a background, but some systems would also allow you to even put foreground objects as well. So you could actually be behind a desk that doesn't really exist, even though it might look like it does. So.
And the advantage, presumably, of the virtual set is ultimately expense and flexibility. So it's cheaper.
It can be cheaper than building a physical set, so that's an advantage. Also, the ability to change it can be a lot easier. You know, if you build a physical set, you're sometimes kind of stuck with it for a while based on how much it costs. But the other big advantage to it is space. Virtual sets typically need much less space to operate than a physical set might be, and you know, what we're seeing a lot these days is, you know, places that want to do video, but it wasn't something they planned on from the beginning. So, you know, it might be a corporation or a school, and you know, their studio is just a small room, but they want to make it look like a large space that they can use stuff with. So virtual gives you that advantage.
So this is really going to help maybe a company in the center of an expensive city where you know, room space is expensive. Mm-hmm. It means they can give the impression of having a much bigger studio.
Yep.
Maybe they're just in the corner of a room, like we are. In the
yeah,
corner
or
of
just a spare office that's in there, and that's, you know, 10 by 10 room, but make it look like it's a much larger space.
Yeah. Let's go back to the idea of setting up a studio, planning a studio. What should be on your shopping list? What are the main items?
Obviously, start with cameras is one of the first things everybody thinks about. Do you have camera operators, you know, or are these just going to be just statically set up cameras, or are you looking to maybe put in robotic cameras? So there's obviously a lot of options there, and a lot of different camera types in there. Is the set kind of static? You know, people are going to sit pretty much in the same spot. If that's the case, you can get by then with just cameras and tripods and generally be okay. But if it's something more dynamic, maybe it's you know, where people are going to be standing up, maybe they're working on whiteboards and very dynamic, more content, then robotic cameras or planning on having camera operators and the appropriate kind of equipment in that case would certainly be something to think about.
So one thing that comes out of what you're just saying is you have to plan it in advance. You have to plan what kind of studio you're going to have, what elements you're going to have in the studio. Maybe you're going to have a virtual screen to show interviews and maybe graphics.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that comes down to, I guess, first, like what is the show going to be? What kind of content are you going to have in it, so that you can then plan as to how the kind of equipment you need to make that work. So.
And then I suppose you need something that you plug the cameras into so that you can control them and record them.
Yeah, now some cameras have recording built in, but some don't. Even if they can record, is it something that, you know, potentially you're going to go edit with later? Is it something your editing system can take easily, or what kind of quality of recording they do? I mean, some cameras, especially like more consumer level, they might really compress that image a lot, so might not be as good as recording in an external system that can give you better quality so that you can edit with it easier, maybe do more post-production or compositing or special, whatever kind of things you want to add to it after the fact.
Well, thanks very much, Kane. That's really
thank
good.
you.
Thank you. So that was Kane from NewTek, and we also talked to Ben Baldwin from Chuffed Productions, and he takes all his production gear out on the road, including multi-cameras, and he's able to make amazing productions out in the field. He's going to tell us all about that. So I'm with Ben Baldwin from Chuffed Productions, and we're going to talk about how you take your studio out on the road. Hi Ben, thanks for coming in.
Pleasure, good to meet you.
And can you tell us a bit about your company, what you do?
Yeah, of course. So Chuffed Productions has been going for around about 8 or 9 years now. We used to do a lot of promo videos for events companies. So we specialised in the experiential kind of marketing side of video. And testimonial videos as well for various different companies. But with our experience within events and broadcast, we moved sort of last year and the year before, we started to work in events as far as multi-camera production was concerned.
So really what we're talking about is you know, we're used to seeing multi-cameras in the studio.
Yeah.
And you've been replicating that out on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, and how do you do that? How do you begin to do something like that?
Well, I think the first thing with it is why do you want to do something multi-camera? And for me, it's always about improving the production values, and it's improving what people are going to see and how they're going to receive that content and how you can communicate with your audience as well. So with one single camera, sometimes for certain things that works. That's all you need. For other stuff, you want to make it more engaging. And that's going to help you get the message across, and hence the use of multi-cameras.
I imagine with sports you've got a lot of cameras.
Exactly, it's really tricky to do it with just one camera. But the other great thing about using multi-camera is, and particularly within sport, is the amount of different cameras that are available. So you don't have to think, for instance, a football shoot we did, a five-a-side football, which was an 8-camera shoot, but 5 of those cameras were GoPros. So we only had other 2 what you would probably term as expensive cameras.
So you sort of imagine a giant broadcast truck and you know, a massive desk inside there and like people with clipboards.
Yeah.
What's the reality when you do it?
Take that image, screw it up, throw it out the window, and imagine a hire transit van with 2 trestle tables in the back of it, and all the gear that we actually needed in there. That's how much space you can do it in. You can do it in smaller. If you get the right production switcher that can handle the right cameras and can handle all the different bits of pre-recorded footage and stuff like that, it makes it so easy that will come in one box. That's the first thing that helps. I mentioned camera selection and the GoPros. That's the other thing. I think a lot of people are always afraid that they need to do everything super professional or try to do things super professional by throwing lots of money at it, and that's not always necessary. It can help for sure, but it's not always necessary. So if you can have a production switcher that can handle different types of camera, like the GoPros, like Sony cameras, like Canons, whether it's SDI or HDMI, then you're off to a good start. That's what I always start with the base. I think about my camera setup, what I'm going to need those cameras to do. Do I need to spend a lot of money on that camera?
It's more about the kind of look you're trying to achieve, the angles. It's more about that than necessarily spending a fortune on every camera.
Yeah, so if we take the five-a-side football for an instance, this was a job that we did for Nike that was I think a 20 metre by 10 metre pitch, a five-a-side football pitch, but it was in a cage. So that has its limitations immediately on what you're going to be able to do, because there's no way I want to be in the cage with an expensive camera with a ball flying around.
So again, this kind of dispels the image that you've got like an experienced camera person behind each of these cameras controlling every movement. they're fixed cameras, preset.
We took a professional sports model, if you like, of how to shoot a football game, and then kind of pared it down from there, or adapted it, if you like. So these two cameras on the halfway line, one is on a wide, one is on a tight issue of the ball, and they're following the ball. And then we had a camera which was a GoPro on its widest angle, which was at the very top of the cage, and that took in the whole pitch. And then we had two cameras which kind of looked into the last third, and then two behind each goal. And in truth, the two behind the goal we only really used on replays. So as far as the director was concerned, he was really cutting with 3 or 4 cameras for the live stuff and using the others for the replay.
So in your transit van,
Yep.
with your trestle table,
Yes.
Is there somebody in there switching live and you just record the final output, or are you recording multiple feeds from the
This
cameras?
is going live to screens which are by the pitch, so it's a live feed with live replay as well. So we used a TriCaster 8000 and a 3-play, which obviously work very well together and can take all the different formats of the camera in really well, and all the pre-roll.
So that's sports coverage.
Yeah.
What other kind of live events have you done?
Very similar setup to this, actually, be it on a green screen or be it at a conference, stuff like that, which again is, for me, the multi-camera. It all comes back to bringing it to production values. I'm off to see a new client this week, tomorrow in fact, to talk to them about some of their conferences, and they've previously done it with a guy who stands at the back of the room, right at the back of the room,
Locked
with
off.
a single camera,
Yeah.
locked off, and not a lot can happen. But it's not just the cameras as well. Thinking conference wise, if you can get a feed of whatever it is, the PowerPoint presentation
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on, or
Yeah.
whatever particular thing they're using, I consider that another camera. I consider that it's being able to bring that in. It's something else.
It's
to cut
another
to.
source, isn't it?
Yeah. So that other source helps you mix your program out up to make it more interesting and make it more visual. We use multi-camera not just in the live scenario, but also in the pre-record scenario as well, for various corporate videos and training videos
Yes.
as well.
Yes. Okay. Fantastic. Really interesting. Thanks very much, Ben.
Pleasure.
That was Ben Baldwin from Chuffed Productions. We've just got back from NAB in Las Vegas, and the RedShark team was able to catch up with some of the manufacturers and talk to them about their new products. NAB is the biggest show in the world for our industry. There's around 1,700 companies exhibiting there. Over 100,000 people visit. We've been there as usual this year. It was an amazing show. You almost can't move for the exciting new products, the innovation, and the incredible evidence of the work that goes into designing these products. You won't find such a concentration of new stuff anywhere in the world.
Welcome to NAB 2015. We're here at the NewTek booth. My name is Will Waters, Senior Video Specialist, and we're showing some amazing new products. NewTek is all about making tools that allow people to tell their stories through video. First off is an add-on package to TriCaster. It's called TriCaster Advanced Edition. We've had TriCaster out now for 10 years, and this is the most amazing version of TriCaster to date. Our other exciting announcement here at the show is the 3-Play Mini. 3-Play Mini, small form factor, HDMI cameras, web-controlled interface, amazing value for those who replay was previously unavailable. We also are showing Talk Show, which is another fantastic product, being able to bring in professional video to your production over the Skype network. Fantastic things happening here at NAB 2015, and thanks for stopping by.
Hey, so I'm Nathan here at the Adamus booth. We've got our new show gun everywhere. We've got the new features that we're always rolling out. We're getting time-lapse record. We're supporting AJA RAW from the Scion. We're supporting RA RAW. The C300 Mark II has RAW out that we'll be supporting. The FS series is going to get RAW soon. Our LUTs are in there right now, so you can use S-Log and so forth and get your own custom LUT so your client can see close to what they're going to get at the end. we're going to have that now output over the HDMI and SDI so that you can see those colors. It's very exciting 2015, so keep those units updated because we got some cool new features.
Hi, I'm Dan May with Blackmagic Design here at NAB 2015, here to talk a little bit about our new Ursa Mini that we've come out with. A great unit that has just a simple flip-out touchscreen for being able to record in 4K. We also have our great new 4.6K sensor. That 4.6K version is great because it has up to 15 stops of dynamic range. It comes with just the camera and the handle. You can also buy this new EVF that we've come out with and this new shoulder kit, so you can pop it right off the tripod, put it on the shoulder, use it handheld. Tremendously flexible. Going to be shipping later in July. Tremendously excited about it and happy to be showing it here at NAB 2015.
That was NAB 2015, which was a fantastic show for us. And around the time of the next show, which is IBC in September, we'll be releasing our next TV program. And we're going to be focusing on tips and questions around the subject of building a TV studio. If you have any questions, just email them to editor@redsharknews.com. Now, I'd like to just say thank you to everybody who's helped put this show together for us, particularly NewTek for all their input, and all the other amazing manufacturers who've let us use their equipment. Keep reading redsharknews.com for details about our next video show. Thanks very much, everyone. We'll see you next time.